Hey, welcome to the studio. I'm Eryn Carlisle. I'm a therapeutic art and wellness coach, and I run the Art of Living Vibrant. This is my new business where I cover therapeutic art and wellness, and it's really this creative approach to self-care to help you with your mental fitness, to basically use art as a way to get past any blocks and to really show up in your life. So this has been one of those things where I've just been kind of testing the waters, kind of seeing what people respond to and trying to put together things that are really going to help you with, diving into creativity and feeling that confidence to be able, to use it for the purpose of showing up in your life the way that you want to, because that's what it's about to me. Being creative is great, but this is not, I want to help you where it's like, of course you want to enjoy it. You want to see something that comes together and looks beautiful, right? But at the same time, to me, the purpose of it is the fact that creating art can help lower your cortisol levels, your stress hormone. And there's even been a study that says that it can increase your dopamine, so your pleasure hormone. So these are amazing things. So there's that factor in it. There's a way of using this as a way to really listen to that inner voice of yours, to start communicating with yourself better, to know what is going on and try to resolve that. So, my biggest thing is I tell people, I want to help you get off that emotional roller coaster. I want you to gain more control over the way that you feel, because the way you feel is going to generate, the way you feel is going to, generate, it's going to affect the way you show up in your life. It's going to affect how you respond to people, the actions you take or you don't take, and, ultimately the results if you end up having a life that you enjoy. So anyways, that's my little spiel, and the only reason I'm sharing is because YouTube is my place to kind of test everything out, to be like, hey, here's what's been going on, here's what I've been doing, and yeah, I'm just excited about it all. I really am. So anyways, today's video, I really liked my last one where it's like I had me talking and I was painting. I do plan to do some more of those. I want to condense them down to about 20 to 30 minutes probably, what a typical session is for me. I don't really get that many stretches that are that long, and that was kind of pressing it for me anyways. And I know that I'm not the only person. A lot of us have so much going on in our lives that it's like I can't dedicate an hour, all like frequently, maybe not even once a week, to sit down and do art, and that feel like it has that importance to you, especially if you're starting out with it. So again, I call this, if you are new to my channel, I call this expressive art journaling. I used to call it art meditation. The feedback I got was that a lot of people feel like that's it's kind of intimidating, and so if you do this on your own, you can add it with meditation. You can get into that meditative state, but I'm not going to be covering that. I feel like that's kind of on this other level, and the main thing is the thought work and the creative expression. Those are the two main things that really can help, and so that's kind of what this is. And today's video, peace, I don't know why. Why I just did that. Anyways, today's video is really going to be going over, I keep looking down at my painting in front of me, like you can see it. You can't see it yet. I am going over this idea that I have of using carbon paper to transfer, I'm sorry, I can talk, I promise. Using carbon paper to transfer images. So I will create illustrations that then you could use carbon paper to transfer it onto your artwork. So the little bit tricky part of this, and another reason why this video is not me talking to you like I did in the last one and painting, is because I'm trying out something new. I have recorded it and it's been in kind of different batches as I have found time to kind of do it. So it's just been left on my table, and it's like I threw out one part, I recorded that, and so I'll put it all together for you guys. But know that this took a couple different days just because I was kind of figuring things out, and my ultimate goal is really to make things feel more approachable, to feel less intimidating, and to get you just excited to dive into being creative. Because and part of this, the reason I thought of this is, for one, paint parties. That's something like I've just looked at, because I would love for my sessions. I want to do a group membership that is very accessible, for people to easily show up like once a month to paint together. And I want it to have a really good energy. And so I was looking kind of about paint parties. And so there was this idea from that. And then also my mom is retired and never really painted or created my whole life. And then she got into doing watercolors. And so I would see she really liked if she could already have the sketch. And I'm not sure if she used carbon paper. I need to ask her, but she used different ways to basically transfer and have the sketch. So then she could just focus on painting. And I went back and forth with this because this style is supposed to be about expression. It's supposed to be about cutting loose. But what I realized is, if you are just starting, it feels very intimidating when you're like, well, I don't know what to put on the page. And then it doesn't look good. And so you get discouraged. And it still may not look good, because anytime you're learning something new, it's hard. It's like me doing video and I'm tripping over my words. I do it a lot, and I think because I'm trying to say everything and I don't want to take too long to say it, so I'm like blah 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 and then I can't get my words out. But you understand that I'm just putting myself out there, and I'm continuing to show up, and I'm continuing to do it, and I'm like, I will hopefully get better. I think I'm getting slightly better. The more I show up, the more I do it, I start to be a little bit more me. Some of mine, I feel like I kind of sound like a robot because I'm trying to think what I'm saying, or I try to script it out. And I really prefer to just to talk about what I care about, to talk about what matters. That means I ramble a little bit. I apologize. But if you don't like it, then I know you're not going to subscribe. But if you do, thank you. I appreciate you being here. And I hope that I can help break this down to make it something that you really enjoy doing. So we're going to dive into this idea of using carbon paper to transfer images onto your artwork. And the reason, as I stated before, was just, with paint parties, they're about having fun. They're about creating something that you're going to be proud of when you walk away from the party, and having fun, with your friends. And so really that was this idea that I would love to incorporate into my business as I'm moving forward. And so I was, just kind of brainstorming. I was like, let me just try and do a YouTube video. And so I'd love any feedback, what your thoughts are on this, because with art journaling, it's really this place of messing around, playing with materials. It's a place to journal, get clear on your thoughts, and it can be so powerful. It's such a simple process, really, in the grand scheme of things, of what you can do. Art journaling, expressive art journaling, there's so many different ways it can be approached. And so I hope that this channel is going to really dive into some different techniques and different things with that. But my main thing, again, it's to get you comfortable with diving into creativity, and to see how that creativity can impact how you show up in your life, how it can help you connect those thoughts with your feelings, and the way how you're communicating with yourself. Because if you don't understand really what you're trying to say to yourself, you're not hearing that inner voice, that inner guidance of your own, how do you expect to communicate clearly and effectively with other people? So it really, starts with you, and then how you can radiate that out and show up in the world, and how that's going to affect your relationships and just every other aspect of your life. But it starts with you. And a lot of this is getting over, dealing with how you're thinking, how you're feeling, and, helping you to use this as a way to move forward with big goals in your life, or goals that you just feel stuck or like you're not able to do. So this is really just diving in, and I'm playing with this idea of using carbon paper, transferring them over, and I tried to go quick. Obviously, I sped up my video because I did this in multiple sessions, so this would have been an extremely long video had I left them just a regular speed. But I did move quickly, and the idea was that I wanted to show that even though you're starting with these illustrations, which again, I did these really quickly, and because I was just testing the waters, kind of seeing what I think about it. But what I realized as I got moving into it, I was like, okay, so my fear was that, it's creating these images and people maybe get too stuck on it. But even though you would have something to start with that would maybe help you not feel as fearful. Sorry, that's kind of a weird way to say that. Anyways, but maybe remove some of that fear about diving into creating, that it's still it can turn out so many different ways. There's a couple different times I'm like, I could have stopped right where I was. It was a nice painting. It looked good. But the more that I have gotten into doing kind of this intuitive, abstract type of painting, and I really just listen to any little whim that I have, and I'm like, you know what? I feel like doing this. I'm going to do it. And I just kind of follow that. And I've learned more and more I've done it, of trusting that, like, just go ahead and do it. Even though in my head, I'm like, well, this is good. I don't know that I need to change it, So, but sorry, I am kind of losing my voice. So anyways, I hope that with watching this, you can see that it can start from one place with these illustrations, and there's so many different ways that you can still play and layer and make it your own, even though you would be starting with some illustrations. But again, I would really love to hear if you feel like this would kind of help you to dive in and to get more comfortable with kind of a jumping off point, or do you think it would make you get more in your head? Because, maybe that would be something. Again, I am just using YouTube as my way to kind of throw stuff out there, see how people respond, see what people like, and I really do value any feedback that I get. And the whole reason I tried this was I had spoken with a couple different people, and like I had been calling it art meditation before, and they felt like that was really intimidating. And then I was talking with another friend of mine about another artist and doing classes that were kind of similar in this kind of style. And she said it just felt like more like legit art, she said. And so she felt like that wasn't something she could get into. And so again, I know from lots of people that I've spoken with that it's not just about the process for them. But at the same time, because they don't feel like an artist, it can be intimidating. And so this is a really fine balance of things that I'm trying to work through and trying to feel like, how do I really help you guys along with this? So that's a lot to say on all of this. I know I'm being very wordy. So I'm going to move on and just talk a little bit about the painting as I have been going, because this was one I actually really, really love how it came together. And the thing that I want to talk about is that I tried to be very loose and very messy with everything I was doing, because I had it in mind that, okay, if somebody has never painted, you could slop paint on, don't have to blend it together a certain way, but it's the messiness of how these different colors and even unexpected colors put together that I find so beautiful. But that's just, one of my own things. And the other thing is that one of the things I find so beautiful about what did happen through this piece is that I couldn't have planned it. There's no way I could have planned how this piece came together. It was, here's a couple illustrations of some flowers and some leaves and a few mark makings, which I ended up covering over, but they give a really beautiful texture and they kind of show through in the background, but I wasn't loving them. And I was like, okay, I'm not real in love with this. They stand out kind of weird. And so I covered over them, but they still are peeking through and they give that interest and they give just that depth to it. And so I want you, as you are working through doing some art journaling and you're working through a painting, to keep pushing yourself when you think like, well, this, I guess to listen, does it feel done to you? Are you proud of it? Do you like it? And it doesn't have to be done in one session, 2 sessions. I think this one took me 4 or 5 sessions because I got interrupted by my kids a lot. Again, I was kind of playing with some new stuff, and they were like 10-minute sessions, 20-minute sessions, and I think I did 2 30-minute sessions on this one. So they were varied up. One time it was even like 5 minutes because I got started and it was like, Mom! So, I get it. If you have little ones around, sometimes it can be hard. So I just have my table set up where I can work. And when I can jump in and I can get some of that time in, I work through it. And it just gives me a good place to calm down, relax, get my thoughts together. Even if I've already done the journaling part and I'm just finishing, it still provides just that. It's that self-care. It's a creative way of self-care, because as I spoke about before, I'm like, it really does relax you. Just the act of making art relaxes you. And so I want you to just give it that chance. And I know in a way it's like I'm like, come on, please. And if you're watching this, you're curious, you're interested, whether you already create art or you're on the fence about trying to dive into creating and doing art. And the thing again that I'm not sure if I said it in this one, I know I've said it in other videos, but with an art journal, it's a journal. Like, so if you hate it, if you don't like how it turns out, it's just a piece of paper. You can turn the page, you can rip it out, you can throw it away. If you get really mad at whatever you're working through, feel free to tear up the paper, burn it, throw it away. Like, it doesn't matter. And I tell my kids all the time with creating and when they're learning, if they mess up and they just like, I can't fix it, I don't know what to do, I'm like, throw it away. It's just paper. Put it in recycle. Put it in recycle. But that my point is if it's just like you're like, I hate everything about this, turn the page, start a new one. But if there are parts that you're like, well, I like what's happening here, try repeating that, try adding that in, because that is something I do a lot. Is there will be one thing I like and I'll repeat it all over the page. I'll take a color I'm really liking and I'll spread it out in different parts on the page. And you see that there's like all these different colors that are kind of blurred in together, overlapping, and I try to balance them out. I usually go in odds. I don't know, that's just because I'm odd. But like 3s to 5s, sometimes 7, but really the 3 to 5 are kind of like my touch points to be like, that feels good and balanced. So, and again, this piece, I was feeling a little bit nervous and shy and a little bit creative and hopeful as I was trying something new, which came out in the purple and the orange. And I didn't even think about that as I started. But as I went, it was like, okay, I'm growing, I'm learning through this. And intuitively, those colors just start coming out. I love turquoise, so that comes out a lot in my art. And I've really been loving neon pink, bright pink I've been adding, and then I mixed it with the orange that I had used, and that's a new favorite color I'm just loving. So anyways, I was really happy with how this piece came together. And I never considered myself a painter before. I was like, I'm good at illustrating, but I didn't feel very good at finishing paintings. And so I've been challenging myself as I've been moving into doing the therapeutic thing and, saying, hey, push yourself, challenge yourself, do something that feels uncomfortable, because when you get comfortable with the uncomfortable, it's easier to sit with. It's like if you get comfortable with uncomfortable feelings, you don't need to push them away immediately, and you can sit with them and be like, why am I feeling like this? And you start being a spectator of your thoughts and you start understanding kind of what's going on. Then you can resolve that problem instead of like pushing it down, pushing it away. And so that is with art, you get kind of used to being uncomfortable, doing things that don't necessarily, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Do any of us know what we're doing through life? Because I feel like a lot of us, we think we know what we're doing to a certain degree, but there's a lot of things that we don't know, and we figure it out as we go. And I love Marie Forleo that says everything is figure outable, because it's true. And it's just if you want to, and if you see the value in something. And so that is my hope, is that you can see the value, that creating art has so many different purposes, that it can be a way to gather and have paint parties with friends and have fun and visit. And it can be ways to get all of your thoughts and your feelings out of your head and down on paper, and to really let go of some of those things that are holding you back and holding you down and moving forward. And with every piece that I create, I always start with, it's like, what's holding me down? What is, I say holding me down, holding me back, or putting me in kind of a low vibe feeling. And then as I work through the piece, I think, how do I want to be showing up? How do I want to be feeling in my life? And so that's a lot of the self-care too. And it's like why I called it meditation before, because if I'm by myself and I have the music going on, I can get into a meditative flow, and it really becomes focusing on being in the present with what is happening and thinking about how I want to feel, in my life, and then what kind of thoughts, what kind of actions, what needs to be in line for that to happen. And so I hope that you have enjoyed this video, that you got something valuable out of it. If so, please give me a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, anything to just show that, hey, this did resonate with me. I appreciate you taking your time and effort to put this together. I would appreciate it, because it helps me know with future videos on how to show up and what to do. So thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Peace and love.